Lawin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawin Media Network.
All right. Good evening, Texas. Good evening, USA. And good morning to all our viewers from the Philippines. Welcome to Season 7 of Be Bold, Why Not? We are here to help you rebuild yourselves, your brokenness, and to help you rise again and rule your lives here in Be Bold, Why Not? And we are brought to you by Lawin Media Network, and you are watching us live on Facebook, YouTube, stream.lawin.live, and twitch.tv. And as we promise here on Be Bold, Why Not? Every season, we are here to empower you, inspire you through stories of individuals who are very willing to share and boldly give their or share their life lessons that they learn all throughout their journey in this life and they help us master our journeys. And of course, we have a game as always here in Be Bold, Why Not? Before we get to our guest, we would like for you to see the mechanics of our game.
How to join the game. Watch the live show and join the conversation. Share your thoughts or experiences by commenting during the show. Like, share, and tag at least 3 friends in the comment section to qualify for a chance to win a prize. Participate actively. The more comments you leave, the higher your chances of winning. All participants will be eligible for the prize. The winner will be selected using the Wheel of Names randomizer.
All right, there you go, the mechanics of the game. And again, I really missed the show. I was off for a little over a month, and it has been quite a break for me. You know, I still have my job, of course, but I had to go on a break to prepare for this new and even bolder season of Be Bold, Why Not? And as our first episode for this season 7, we are very honored to have an individual who has so much experience to share with every single one of you tonight. I'm so privileged to have on our show. Let me just have her here. Dr. Lindsay C. Catalla-Buscaino. And she is the founder and CEO of Cuento Co. LLC. She is an independent publisher and a storytelling advocate. Just right for our Be Bold, Why Not? Because we use stories to inspire our viewers. And very, very proud to be, she is a TEDx speaker as well. Wow, that's one of my bucket lists, to be a TEDx speaker. And she has already achieved it. So we are very, very happy and privileged and honored to have on our show. Let's welcome Dr. Lindsay Catalla-Buscaino. And in short, she is known as Dr. Pinky. Dr. Pinky, come on in.
Thank you so much, MJ. Hello, everybody. Hi, Be Bold, Why Not, everyone? I'm so excited to be here tonight. And I'm the one who's honored and privileged. And y'all can call me Pinky or Dr. Pinky to shorten my beautiful, long birth-given name. So thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, thank you, Dr. Pinky, for accepting our invitation to be our first guest in our season 7 of Be Bold, Why Not?
Yeah,
Yay, yay, yay.
tama sa
First
inyong
off, I want to start it light. Why Dr. Pink? Why Pinky?
right. Why Pinky? Actually, that's a perfect first story. That's one of the first exercises I have with my storytellers, with my writers, is what is the origin of your name? Right. So my real name, as you all heard, is Pat Lindsay Catalia. That's what I was born. Specifically, Pat Lindsay C. Don't forget the mother's maiden name,
Yeah.
Karihutan Catalia. Pat Lindsay, first, that's my name, is a combination of my maternal and paternal grandmother's name, mga lola ko. On my mom's side, my lola's name is Pastora. I never met her. She passed away. God
Mhm.
rest her soul. And she was nicknamed Pat, I think, with her friends, or Paz. And then my dad's mom's name is Felina. So Felin is the part where Lindsay comes in. But I was
Mhm.
born in the 80s. So you might have heard of Lindsay Wagner. So
Mhm.
she was really popular back in the days. And so my mom decided to call me Lindsay, Pat Lindsay. But when I was born, I came out very, very pink. And so my
Oh,
dad decided to call me Pinky. And
okay.
yeah, so I was born very pink. And there's many iterations of my name, Pinky. It eventually turns also into Inky. They dropped the P, so wala nang P, so naging Inky.
Okay.
So Pinky or Inky, I respond to any of those. But
Yeah.
in school, I didn't grow up with Pinky. My
Mhm.
name is so long, haba, diba? Pat Lindsay.
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
classmates called me Pat. So
Okay.
all my life to school and professionally, they called me Pat. But when I
Yeah.
was working in the community and in the Filipino family, I'm Pinky, right? In the Filipino community at church, I'm Pinky. And so eventually that started meshing together, and I eventually
Okay.
decided magiging na lang Dr. Pinky na lang ako, for for brand sake, moving
Well,
forward.
that's good. Yeah, see, there's always a story behind anything,
Yeah.
diba? That's why stories are very powerful. Now, let us tell our viewers where you from in the Philippines.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So my ancestors are from the Philippines. They are from, specifically, my mom's side. She was born in Manila. And
Mhm.
her parents are Visayan, taga Samar sila. So they're from Calbayog City, Samar, and Oquindo, Samar. My
Mhm.
father is Tagalog. He is from Quezon Province, specifically Pagbilao, Quezon. And so is my grandfather. But my grandmother, she's from Marinduque, Boac, Marinduque. So they're both Tagalog. And my parents are the ones from the Philippines. Me, I was actually born and raised in Southern California, Los Angeles. And
Mhm.
I was raised in Culver City my entire life until I moved out to Houston in 2007. So now I'm a certified Houstonian, as they would say.
Okay.
So now
That's
I'm here.
awesome. Yeah, how important do you think, Dr. Pinky, to look at our roots, like from our culture and all that, growing up and everything? How important is that in our lives?
It is it's so important to look back in our past, to learn more about our roots, where we come from. There's that saying in Tagalog, which is very long and I can't say it, but uh, the implication is, you won't know your future if you don't look back and honor your past. Right.
Mhm.
And it doesn't necessarily mean just your past, but your ancestors' past, and where they came from as well. It's all tied together. But also moving forward, now that you know that information, what will you do with that, right? To propel you into the
Mhm.
future, and make it hopefully better for you, for your family, and for your community, right? So that's kind of that's why I think, learning more about where you come from is important, because it strengthens your resolve as a human being, as a person. And to me, that's your superpower. That's your
Yes.
combat and your weapon of choice, so to speak, that you have your roots and your ancestors and your culture rooting you from behind, and propelling you forward.
Yeah, and there's always pride, right? There's
Yeah.
always pride in there to
Mhm.
like recognize where we come from. And my next question to you is, having born in the United States, okay, how was the Filipino tradition and culture
Yeah.
lived in your family? Because you're
Well,
born here, and with your siblings and with your mom and
yeah.
dad, how did they keep the tradition alive in the family?
Absolutely. Shout out to my family if you're watching. uh, my family, my nuclear family, my mom and dad, Armando and Paquita Catalia, and then my sister, Christine May Catalia, when they are my nuclear family, and we all lived in one beautiful street in Los Angeles, Cattaraugus, and
Mhm.
across the street was my maternal aunt, a paternal aunt, and my grandma, and my uncle down the street. My ninang also across the street. My uncle downstairs. So that's my first community. So
Okay.
being Filipino American, I was very lucky and blessed to live on a street where my first community was really my Filipino family. And it was a combination of multi-generational immigrants, right? So my paternal aunt, Auntie Mercy, was the first to come from my dad's side of the family. And she established herself and her roots and eventually got everyone here to the States. They've post 1965,
Mm-hmm.
which is an important immigration act, for our community. And so from there, I mean, we lived a very humble, very, very humble life. We lived in a one-bedroom apartment growing up. It is the immigrant story,
Mm-hmm.
I think, for a lot of us. And
Mm-hmm.
my family speaks Tagalog to us and also English, so we learned from there. And then we also had cousins who had newly immigrated in the early, like, Y2K time frame, late 90s, early 2000s, and they really also brought over the Filipino culture. And they taught us a lot of songs, dances, and it also helped that we watched mga TFC, mga
Uh-huh.
teleserye. Maala-ala mo kaya?
Uh-huh.
We watched. Oh, and we also loved, like, watching ASAP, on Sundays, with the singing and dancing. And everyone had,
Mm-hmm.
like, boy band fanatic here in the United States, with, like, Hanson, which my cousins love too.
Uh-huh.
But, like, me and my sister and my cousins, we love the Filipino boy bands and rock bands. Like, I grew up listening to Eraserheads, River Maya. I also, was a fan of, like, Tabing Ilog, Jimin.
Uh-huh.
And my
Yeah.
favorite band was, like, JCS. And I was a super fan of John Pratt's, as a young girl. So now I'm getting really embarrassed just kind of sharing my childhood growing up. But not only did I learn Filipino culture, there was also on TV Filipino American culture. And also
Mm-hmm.
at the time, um, there was Filipino American music. And, we grew up with Lea Salonga, which we had a dream, you and me, right? MJ, we just saw her at
Yes.
Miller Avenue
Wow, that was
Theater.
amazing. She's the best. Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
amazing. So I just saw her
Mm-hmm.
last year at the FONS conference, Filipino American National Historical Society, Houston, Texas chapter that I'm a part of. We brought
Mm-hmm.
out Jocelyn Enriquez, a Filipino American singer, and she was a pop star back in the days when I was also growing up. And she was the first Filipina pop star that I ever heard on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had a lot of hits, English and even Tagalog too. And that really shaped, my idea of Filipino American identity, I think, growing up. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
been so wonderful working in the community and having this full circle moment where I'm able to meet my childhood heroes and
Mhm.
childhood celebrity pop stars
Mhm.
growing up. So I don't know. I think I'm just so lucky to have that, and I think I want to
Yes.
recreate that all the time. I think when I'm around people, and hoping because not everyone has that experience. Not everyone
You're
has.
right. You're definitely right. So I think when you say you're privileged to have that situation, because not everybody, like, it's a challenge for Filipino American kids to even learn about their culture because of the environment. But you were brought up in an environment where it seemed like you grew up in the Philippines. So yeah,
Parang.
parang,
Yes,
'di ba? So
yes.
anyway, you know what? We're on our first break. See how time
Oh,
flies
wow.
when we're just chatting? It's so
MJ, we
fun.
can go
Yeah,
forever.
I know, I know. So anyway, we'll go on our first break, and when we come back, we will continue our very fun conversation with Dr. Pinky. See you after a bit.
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious memories. From elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits, I'm here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me today and let's create magic together.
All right. So before we continue our conversation, Dr. Pinky, I just would like to read some of our comments. So it seems
Wonderful.
like they really missed our show. From Daisel Miral Siaton. Good evening, Ma'am MJ, watching from Pangasinan. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And from C. Jubel, happy watching from Pangasinan. Thank you. Hi, Mom MJ. Na-miss ka po namin. Wow, thank you. I miss y'all too. And then from Recto Julius, good evening, Mom MJ, watching from Pangasinan. We have Rose and
Wow.
Vanyas Alvendia. Good evening po, Ma'am MJ, watching from Pangasinan. We have
Wonderful.
Krisha. Congratulations for the launch of season 7. Keep strong, be bold. Why not? Thank you, Krisha. And we have Maria Teresa C. Hi, Mom MJ. Hi to you as well. And again, Daisel Miral Siaton says, welcome back, Be Bold, Why Not Season 7. And Rose Anbanyas Alvendia, hello, Dr. Pinky, with emoji. And
Good
Edel
morning.
Rose Arce Gamboa, hello po, good morning. And we have Julia Reyes. Good morning, Mom MJ and Dr. Pinky. And we have Donald Wen. Good evening from Texas. Well, thank you so much, Donald. Thank you for watching. Yes, yes. So we were just talking about Filipino American culture with Dr. Pinky before we went on a break. Now let's learn about your educational background.
Yeah, for
Yeah, because I know our childhood usually has an influence on what we want to become. But I want to know first, when you were growing up, Dr. Pinky, what did you want to become when you
sure.
grow up?
Well, I hate to say this, but I was a typical story. I was one of those kids who said, I want to grow up and become a doctor. I want to be a medical doctor.
Uh-huh.
When I grew up, I didn't really have anything specific, but I just knew being a doctor would give me, would bring joy and pride to my parents, to my family. And I don't know where that came from. I think it was just maybe a lot of the times, unfortunately, I think the pressure
Uh-huh.
of that concept of being in the medical field. And I actually ended up studying and graduating with a bachelor's of science in biology in college
Okay.
at the University of
Uh-huh.
California, Riverside. Go Highlanders! And then
Okay.
I had a minor in women's studies. So I
Okay.
learned about
Mhm.
gender equality
Mhm.
at that time as well. And my goal was to go to medical school at that
Mhm.
point. But I was a very active student leader all through my life. In grade school, we danced hula. We were in drama. In high school, I was in, the leadership student council, and in like the spirituality leadership too, at a Catholic
Mhm.
all girls school. And then in college, that's really where I bloomed as a really big leader in the
Mhm.
Asian American um, community of the students in the Asian Pacific student programs, is where I really learned about my Asian American identity.
Mhm.
And then, of course, met a lot of other Filipinos and a lot of other Asian Americans. Because I told you I grew up with a lot of Filipinos, right? Even
Yes.
in school, grade school, too. But in college, that's when I met a lot of different Asian Americans I'd never met before in my life, and realized that we were part of this like big, diaspora of Asian American, Pacific Islander, Native Hawaiians. And uh and then from there, I think that's when I really enjoyed being like working in the community and doing
Mhm.
community work. So
Mhm.
my education, allowed me access to different organizations, and allowed me to express myself as a student leader, all the
Mhm.
while trying to balance science as a major.
Yes, yes. How did that go? I mean, it's like, yeah, science and community service. I
Yeah.
mean, is there like, how did science help you in your other
Yeah.
ventures?
Science is so interesting, Diba. It's like it's the almost the answers to our lives and the world. But some of science is so hard to pass,
Mhm.
and to do. And so even though, I was never like a perfect science student, I defied the model minority stereotype. Let's just say that. Um, Math wasn't my strong point either, but I just worked really hard and just tried my best. But I
Mhm.
realized as I was a student leader that that was really my passion. That
Yes.
was where I was really blooming and growing. And when I was younger, it was performing, singing, dancing, speaking.
Mhm.
But in college, working as a student leader, that's where I realized, oh, I have leadership inside of me that's stronger, naturally. And I
Mhm.
think I thank you for college for that.
Yes, yes.
And then it allowed me to see, life after that. But I had a huge like change in career moment actually after college. My parents wanted me to go to medical school and continue, and I didn't do that. As you can see, I went
Yes.
to a different kind of doctorate program in the future.
Yes.
um, I ended up actually working for the college. They hired me at
Mhm.
the university because they saw what a student leader I was. I stayed there for a little while, and then I moved to Texas. And Texas
Okay.
just changed our lives, and it just, I mean, Texas is like a new frontier for us Californians with the big houses and the big front yards. And like, Texas, Houston specifically, was our American dream, in
Mhm.
that sense. And so when we came here, I decided to do something wild and crazy, which was study pastry. And I started
Okay.
baking. I started doing a lot of the festivals and baking and doing pop-ups before that was even a thing. And I even I studied at the local community college. Shout out to HCC for a quick moment, and studied under Chef Eddie Van Dam. And that was amazing. And I wanted to be a
Mhm.
top chef on TV or something. And I realized how hard that was, MJ. You have to wake
Yeah.
up at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. every morning, to go to work. And I think my sister, Christine or Cindy, she would wake up in the morning just as early to drop me off to work while she waited in the car, going to U of H to school for her. So it was definitely a sacrifice. And I just thought, man, I got a bachelor's degree in biology. I got to do something with this. So from there, I actually transitioned back to higher ed and started my
Mhm.
career in higher education as really the beginnings of a college administrator. And so the rest of my career into my 20s and into my 30s was working on my way up into the local college that was here and running a lot of things and putting a lot of hats and growing my leadership skills. But simultaneously, MJ, while I was working, I was still doing community work.
Yes.
Like that doesn't stop apparently. And I
Yeah.
started with FYP, Filipino Young Professionals of Houston, as early back, I think 2009. So yeah,
Wow.
that's
I mean, that's
a bit of
a
my
lot of accomplishments from someone like you. And it seems like you are very into education. You love to learn, you love to study at the same time, you love to serve. Now, going back to the leadership journey that you've had. So, my question to you is, what do you think are the most important qualities of a leader?
oh, wow. I think it depends on every generation that you grow up, right? Like I'm now in my 40s, and so I have a different concept of what leadership means. To me, leadership right now at my stage to me means creating a space where the people that are with you, whether they're side by side with you or under you, or they report to you, or they're, next to you, that you create, that you, in your leadership position, you have positional power, right? And you use your privilege of this power to provide resources, to provide skills, to provide any supplies, equipment, whatever it is that people with you need, right? Because a lot of the times in leadership, somebody just thinks, oh, leader is just that one person, who's doing everything and leading.
Hmm.
Yes, they are, but you can never do anything by yourself as a
That's right.
leader at the end of the
Hmm.
day. Even us as like, if you're a solopreneur, right? Or if you're just a very small business, you still need the help of folks, whether it's volunteer voluntold or you actually pay them or contract them or they're actually on your payroll, right? So to me, true leadership is really understanding the concept of like collectivism and teamwork, true bayanihan, spirit, working
Hmm.
together and taking that initiative. Um, I used to, and I think a lot of that also comes from like a servant type of leadership, right? Like you show your leadership by doing the work, rolling up literally your
Your
sleeves as
sleeves,
well.
yes.
Yeah. And
Mhm,
role modeling that, but also being the strategist, right? And
mhm,
making sure, you clear the path for you and for anyone so that there's no obstacles. There's not as much resistance in the way so that you can go full speed ahead and like,
mhm.
you all can flow, right? Because when we're in a state of flow as a leader, and as a team, it just feels great, right? Like you're just like, yes, we're flying high. But that takes a lot of hard work to feel that way, to feel like you're thriving, to feel like, oh, we're challenged, but at the same time we're succeeding. It takes a lot of effort to look that
Yes.
good.
Yeah, and that's
So,
true. And, for people who are actually following you, like, I'm an employee, right? So we have manager, we have director, we have you feel good when your leadership actually listen and know what you're going through. Because there are leaders that, they say they're in the C-suite. Like
yeah.
there right, there are leaders who are like that, but the leaders who actually are visible to the employees and who are there to actually experience and know and connect with the employees are, to me, those are more
Yeah.
like, they're better leaders. There's like servant leadership, right? That's the way the world, well, not everybody has the same leadership style, but for employees like me or followers like me, I would appreciate a leader like that more than people who just do the task assignments or just sign documents, or you know what
Hmm.
I mean. So
Yeah, like
yeah.
humanity, like a
Hmm.
sense of humanity, when you're
Hmm.
dealing with somebody, it's not
Hmm.
it's not too transactional. I mean, the
Yes.
reality is about MJ, where if you are in a workspace as an employee versus an employer, there's always going to be a transactional experience. But you can humanize it, right? As much as
Oh,
possible,
absolutely.
as
Hmm.
professional as you can be, where you don't cross the line and it's, you get too comfortable that,
Hmm.
we're you become comfortable enough, or sometimes people even say like, oh, I feel like, my work family,
Mm-hmm.
and I've experienced that
Mm-hmm.
myself. I've been a part of wonderful many teams, and I continue to even now as a my own business owner, and actually working with FONS, Filipino American
Yeah.
National Historical
Yeah.
Society, as their community liaison, working as a team with all of these individuals who just love the mission. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
didn't say it was going to be easy. It's very
Yes,
hard to do
it
community
is.
work,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, because
know.
people stay in the
Yeah.
job, or people stay in the organization not because of the job, but be- how they are being treated,
Yeah.
right? That's what people make stay and be loyal and in the community or in the organization. So anyhow, Dr. Pinky, we're on our second break. And when we come back, actually we're gonna start talking about your involvement or your company, Cuentoco, because we want to let people know what Cuentoco is about. It seems like everything from your past up to now, it has prepared you to actually create and this organization, right? So because in different stages of our lives we are being prepared for the next big stage. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like this is your big stage, this is
Aw.
your, so we're gonna talk about that when we come back after our short break.
Thank you.
Join us for a captivating new series where Lawin sits down with the trailblazers of the music and entertainment world. Discover the stories behind the faces and voices that shape our culture and community.
We will bring you exclusive interviews with industry legends and rising stars. Behind the scenes insights and get a peek into the creative processes and personal journeys. Artists and performers and their upcoming shows and events.
Stay tuned for more updates and sneak peeks. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our channel. Filing taxes, dealing with tax debt, or facing IRS actions is stressful, but you don't have to go it alone. Call 832-674-0829 or visit www.taxresolutionesq.com.
All right, we're back and we have more comment from our viewers here. Okay. Hi, Dr. Pinky. We're back, and we have
Hey.
more comments from
Yes.
Julia Reyes. She is so proud of you, Dr. Pinky. Yes. And then we have Joanna
Yeah.
Baterina. God bless. Morning po. God bless. Mark Kahusay. More blessed po.
Oh,
Maraming salamat and
Husa.
blessings to you as well. We also have another comment from Mark Kahusay. Good morning po. Watching from Pangasinan. Maraming salamat. We have Maria Teresa C. Nakaka-inspire naman po kwento ni Dr. Pinky. And we have Julia Reyes. God bless you, Dr. Pinky. And Leonard Gamboa, watching from Kayanga. Wow. And then we have Rainzy Alvendia. Good morning, watching from Pangasinan,
Nice.
Philippines. All right. So yeah, Dr. Pinky.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your company.
Yes.
Cuentoco company. What
Cuento
made
Co.
you or what inspired you to
Yes.
create Cuentoco? I know I can already feel the passion just just mentioning about it.
Yeah.
So tell us about the Cuentoco Academy, Dr.
Yes.
Pinky.
So Cuento Co, thank you for popping up my website. This year is our 4th anniversary. So actually, if you click on that link, there'll be an
Mhm.
article at the top, the yellow bar. So Cuento Co, we're all well, a good majority of us are Filipino here, diba? So
Mhm.
Cuento means story, right? And Co is
Mhm.
company. But when you say the phrase together, you all know what it means, diba? Cuento Co. And
Mhm.
that statement, Cuento Co, is almost even an affirmation of like, this is my story, right? And like really owning that. So where was Cuento Co born from, right? Well, the technicalities of it, where it was born, was after grad school. Actually, during graduate school, my doctorate's degree. I was getting my doctorate's degree at Sam Houston State University. I love my education there so much, and I thank all my professors and the team, the school there. I was able to write a dissertation on a study of Filipino American community college students, because I worked at a community college also at the time. And
Mm-hmm.
so the title of my dissertation was Cuentos/Stories, a narrative inquiry of Filipino American community college students. And I got to interview them. I got to do this, we got to cuento, we got to listen to their stories, and why did they choose their educational pathway? Why did they choose their major and their career? And wow, that was in 2018 when I interviewed them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been several years now. And while I was doing that, I was just thinking, I was researching our Filipino American history and just really immersing myself in this higher level of learning. A lot of it was on my own, but with the coaching of my teachers, who I would meet frequently. I just thought, this is amazing. And I had also left my full-time job at the
Wow.
college at the same time. I said, I'm just going to dive in because
Mm-hmm.
I needed to, and it was just time. So through that experience, I just thought, wow, does somebody have to wait until they get their doctorate's degree to finally, learn about their cuento, to write about their cuento, to write a 350-page dissertation about what they love and what they're interested about? And I thought, no, you shouldn't have to wait, for that.
Mm-hmm.
Simultaneously, I was also part of Filipino American National Historical Society before I even started Cuento Co. So in the Historical Society, our mission is to document, preserve, disseminate, and educate Filipino American history. So I was also doing that work, and alongside with the president of the time, the founder, Christy Poiseau, and also another FONS member, Jenna Maravilla, they published Filipinos in Houston, and I helped contribute to this book with several pictures in it as well. So that was like a little taste of doing that. And then further back into my childhood, I was interviewing my grandmother at a very young age, and I knew that she wasn't going to live forever. So I thought to myself, I really want to document her story. And so all those experiences from a young girl, learning about this in school, and then learning about my grandma and interviewing her, and then like going through my own schooling, helping with the Historical Society, it just was kismet, diba? Like serendipitous.
Yes.
That it was time
Yes.
for me to do that. So I actually published books. I started the process of publishing books even before I became a business. And what I did was, it was the pandemic. So the pandemic was the turning point where I
Okay.
said,
Yes.
I really need to do something, because all of our family and our elders were already passing away before COVID, when
Mm-hmm.
COVID started, during COVID. And I just thought, I can't wait anymore. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
whose history I will not be able to capture if they pass away.
Mm-hmm.
So I invited 6 of my elders. 3 of them are here in Houston and 3 in Los Angeles. And like for almost like 3-4 months, I was hosting Sunday writing and storytelling workshops with my elders. And some were really interested, which were the 2 matriarchs from my dad's side, his ate, Auntie Mercy, and then my mom's side, Auntie Ditchy, also known as Auntie Estrell. They both really wanted to write their stories, because they're in like their 80s essentially. And then the other siblings eventually followed, because we kind of strong-armed them, like, hey, you really should write your stories too. And the outcome, I'm so proud, I'm still very proud of it, and here's 3 of them. They're actual cuento books. So this one is my
Wow.
mom's story of my
Yes.
life, Salaysay ng Aking Buhay. So Pakita, Karikutang Catalia. And this is, we've got pictures and stories through here. This is my father's, the Roots, Armando Lalay Catalia, and so they've got their own little pictures and bios. And then another uncle in the family, the Oscar tree, ang kwento ko, Oscar Catalia. So he wrote his as well. And I went through week after week. I gave them homework.
Yes.
So they're like
Yes.
super excited, because they haven't been in school for a long time, right? Like, oh, so they would tease me, and they call me like, oh, professor or doctor. um, and also nag-aaway pa sila kasi yung
Mm-hmm.
mga facts. Is it true? Was it true that the house was this far kilometers from the street? Or so it was a really exciting time, during a dreary moment in our own history period as humanity, that we were
Mm-hmm.
able to find light through these stories and through the community, of them writing their stories. Kasi sila talaga, they're the ones who wrote their stories either by hand or by typing. For those
Mm-hmm.
who didn't type, we transcribed them, so
Wow.
we would type it all out. We
Yes.
scanned their photos, or they scanned their photos, and eventually I compiled everything and then did what a publisher do, like put the book together, format it together, put all the pictures and the images, together. And so that's when I
Wow, you
realized.
that that is so cool, Dr. Pinky. I just now realized how you've been prepared for this moment. Like this seems to be your purpose. Because as you have said, even when you were a young girl, you already loved interviewing your grandmother and very curious about her life story. And now look at you, you're trying to put their life story in a book where they can leave it to their family. It's like you're helping them leave a legacy for their families for generations to come. And there's nothing more fulfilling, I think, in this life than to have your story remembered, not just by your family, because in your story would include struggles and challenges and all your victories and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
how powerful is that? Oh my god,
It
I
is.
believe in the power of stories, because without, say for example, just you sharing your story here in Be Bold, Why Not, you are already inspiring people, because now it's like, wow, now I am so inspired to really really leave my kids with my story, or
Yes,
or
yes.
write a book of my life, because I know that whoever will have that book in their hand and will be able to read my story will be empowered, will be inspired, will
Mm-hmm.
learn from the lessons that
Yes.
I will be able to share. So wow, this is very unique. Actually, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud
Yeah.
of you.
Thank you. It's the
Yeah.
first time I showed you the books. We didn't even talk about that on our own personal time,
Yeah.
Diva.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So
No, no, talk about it.
yes.
Yeah.
So leading to that, the funny thing is this, I call it now, the series is Leaving a Legacy, because that's what they
Mm-hmm.
are doing. And
Yes.
that led to me really strengthening my own resolve and saying, like, oh, at that point, I didn't even know I was a publisher. Like, I just want to preserve stories. I just want, so when you're registering your business, I don't even really know or understood what I was doing. Like, what is a person that collects stories and puts them into book? And you realize, oh, that's a publisher. But it's
Uh-huh.
not like I grew up with Filipino cousins and relatives that says, oh, when you grow up, you become a publisher. Obviously everyone said become a nurse or become a doctor or become a
Uh-huh.
lawyer or whatever else, and publishing was not, part of the plan. But it's beyond publishing. Publishing is
Mm-hmm.
just for technicalities and for
Yes.
registering my LLC. What we're doing here is really beyond publishing. It's educating, empowering people, right, to
Mm-hmm.
take what's inside of them, right, what's inside your mind and your heart and your spirit, and
And
to
express
actualize,
them.
yeah, into a
Yes.
physical document, which is called an artifact, for
Yes.
historians. And this
Mm-hmm.
artifact, as a book and even as an ebook, right, because it's digital, will live on forever through your voice, right? And no
Yes.
one else can take it away. So I grew up being taught, my parents always said, the education we give you is our only kayamanan sa inyo, right? Like that's the only
Mm-hmm.
thing we can give you, your education. And now I'm realizing my way of giving back to my family, to my community, is to capture their stories, right? The education that they've learned as life lessons into books or into platforms where we can share their stories. And so, yeah, I really believe I'm aligned with this work now, and learning everything that I've learned as a leader. So I ended up through the pandemic and afterwards publishing my own book series called the Cuento Book. And
Mhm.
it's an anthology of Filipino stories and poems. And we have
Mhm.
several 28 Filipino Americans and Filipinos in this book who've written vulnerably about their own life stories, whether it's in
Mhm.
prose or in poetry. It's in
Mhm.
English and in Tagalog also. So there's full stories in Tagalog, full poems in Tagalog that we even had to translate as well.
Wow. Oh my God, Dr. Pinky, this is what I really learned. We have more time to talk about the rest of the books, but this is what I've realized in this life, in this journey we call life. When your purpose is in alignment with God's plan for you,
Yeah.
everything just falls into place. Like
Yeah.
everything will fall into place, and God will give you the way to actually just make them happen. So, oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm getting so excited, but we got to go on our last break. And when we come back, let's talk about the rest of the books that you have published. And at the same time, we're going to talk about your experience being a TEDx speaker. Oh my God, that is so exciting. So, we'll be back
Sure.
after our short break.
Sounds good.
For divorce and family law in Texas, Liggett Dizon Law Firm PC will guide you every step of the way.
From initial consultation to detailed review of your case and strategic planning.
We'll sit with you during negotiations or mediations, and represent you in court.
Whether it is a family law, estate planning, or immigration, we will be there to guide through the final steps.
So, leave your legal matters behind you and embrace your future.
You can contact Liggett Dizon Law Firm PC at 346-5454-346 or visit dizonlawfirm.com.
All right, we're back, and we have more comments from our viewers from Turtle Times. That's my ate. So proud of you, sis. Excellent work and living a wonderful legacy. That's correct. Said. Well said. And then we have Mark Kahusay. Nakaka-inspire po kayo,
Oh,
Dr. Pinky. Marami pong kaming matututunan. And then, of course, we have, mapupulot na aral po dito. And then, Krisha, it's amazing how you were able to publish Filipino books despite being born in the States. Yes, that's a real talent there. And then we have si Jubel, mukhang nakaka-inspired. Basahin po yung books nyo, Dr. Pinky. Yes, absolutely. And then we have John, nakaka-inspire naman po, Dr. Pinky. Totoo po yan. Nakaka-inspire talaga.
yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so inspired, Dr. Pinky. Now I have hope. I have hope that I can actually have my life be
Yeah.
published one day. Because I know my story. I know in my heart that I will be able to bless and inspire a lot of people with my story, because it will show how our struggles can actually make us become stronger, become more resilient. And I have so much to share when it
Yeah.
comes to lessons in life. So, anyway, let's talk about
Yeah.
your other book. Yes.
Yeah, so eventually out of the Cuento book, I had an author who contributed 3 pieces actually in this book. Dr. Dustin Domingo decided
Mhm.
he wanted to also publish his own book. It's essentially letters, and it's called With Love: What We Wish We Knew About Being Queer and Filipino in America. So
Mhm.
Dr. Domingo identifies as part of the LGBTQ plus community, and
Mhm.
this is definitely stories that have not been heard in our community. And
Mhm.
he collected over 50 authors to contribute to this book of his. And I was blessed and honored to publish it in my company. And so this is extremely popular right now.
Yes, yes.
But along even with stories like this, and you mentioning my TED Talk, my TEDx talk through Sam Houston State, my talk was titled, "Who is Your Cuento Keeper?" So
Mhm.
I coined this concept called a Cuento Keeper. And I encourage you, hopefully you can watch it. I need more views on that. I'm not very good at
Yeah,
promoting.
I watched the beginning and it's so funny. Tell us about your Cuento Keeper when you were young.
My
I I
Cuento
I
Keeper.
reached that point. Yes, yes.
My Cuento Keeper turned out to be one of my childhood best friends, Raymar Rasuelo. And
Mhm.
I showed pictures of us growing up side by side. And as you know, as we grow up, we have friends and they're wonderful, but then they're very
Mhm.
far and few between, mga kaibigan ninyo na that's there for you until you grow old, right? And so this best friend of mine and my sister's best friend, Raymar, he was chica chica. He is always like, talking, probably the biggest
Mhm.
gossip out there. But at the same time, when I forget any of my memories from childhood or from school, I'm able to, pick up the phone and ask him, like, okay, what happened? I forgot about this. And they're able to jog your memory, about your
Mhm.
stories. And so each of us uh, has a cuento keeper, whether
That's
that's your
right.
sibling, your
Mhm.
parents, or your community that remembers you and what you do. But you are also a cuento keeper, right? We also keep the stories of people in our hearts. And we feel that very mostly when people pass, right? When they're no
Mhm.
longer with us physically, but they're with us spiritually still. So
Mhm.
that's kind of what we coined in the cuento keep. Who is your cuento keeper? But overall, stories of our community in the Philippines, here in America, and just all over the Filipino diaspora, all over the world, right? Um,
Mhm.
we don't get to learn about those stories in school often. And I
Mhm.
found myself as an educator, right? These are
Mhm.
books that I know at some schools they're teaching some of these books, and reading these poems, reading these life stories, because unfortunately we can't and don't or are not able to study Filipino
Mhm.
stories. Now there are many places that are still teaching it, whether that's in the Philippines or here in the United States, but typically it's not that often. It's not like your kids have, right? MJ, your
Yes.
kids don't have a subject where they're learning Filipino or Filipino American history. And so to me, this is my way of also, like, giving back in education, right? Where we're
Yes.
learning our own stories. So yeah, that's kind of also my educational hat, so to speak, giving back.
Yeah. So other than publishing stories or mga cuentos with Cuento Ko, what are other services you offer to the community?
Yeah, so I can see everybody here, is commenting and is inspired to write their own stories. And I'm so excited that you are inspired. If you are sitting here today and saying, I want to write my own story, well, you've overcome the first hurdle, which is believing in yourself, believing
Mhm.
that you have a story and that it's worth writing.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, when I talk to a lot of Filipinos and I tell them about this concept, not everyone is excited.
Mhm.
Not everyone actually wants to write their story. Many of them like, oh, I don't have a story to tell. I don't. Wala talaga wala. And then you start listening to them and you start poking and prodding, and before you know it, they can't stop talking, right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes people are like, oh, my kids already know my story, or my grandkids already know my story. They're gonna remember me, don't worry. And that's great, right? But
Mhm.
there's nothing that beats a book on a shelf. There's nothing
Mhm.
that beats an artifact that's in your hand that you're reading from someone's own voice. And so I've decided, and I've been wanting to do this from the very beginning, but we have to build our business in steps. I'm
Yes.
going to create a new Filipino school. I am going to launch the Cuento Academy, which you saw on my front page, next year. And the Cuento Academy is focusing on empowering and educating people about their own life stories, right? It might be easy, it might be intuitive to have someone of older age, maybe 40 and over, let's say, to write your life story, and definitely folks who are in their 60s, 70s, 80s. You think, oh, that's only for those people to write their life stories, right?
Mhm.
Well, all Filipinos and all people need a way to learn more about themselves, about
Mhm.
their culture, their
Mhm.
history. And so the Cuento Academy is going to follow four pillars.
Mhm.
It's going to follow legacy, art,
Mhm.
heritage, and innovation. And LAHI spells what, MJ, in Tagalog? Lahi.
LA Lahi. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
lahi, right? So
Lahi.
what is lahi in Tagalog, MG?
Yeah, our lahi. Oh my God, ano nang English no? Lahi is our.
It's like so
You got me there. Like you got me there. Ang
part of
ating lahi. Yeah.
ating lahi
Our
is like
our
our
identity, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
identity are unified in our lineage,
Yes.
unified in our roots, right? Where we
Yes.
come from. And so
Yes.
this academy, the Cuento Academy, is not going to only serve one population. It's not only just for kids. It's going to
Mhm.
include kids and youth. It's going to include teens all the way into young professionals. And it's going to include adults, families, and of course, our elders, our seniors as well. So we're going to be teaching writing classes for seniors and adults. The kids are going to learn about Filipino history, Filipino American history, culture, identity, arts. There's going to be so many different things that it's going to grow. We're going to start off small, but we're going to grow eventually, to provide lots of different educational learning, experiences for the community here. It will also be in person, and we're going to also have virtual as well. So for those of you who are not, here, you can take classes virtually when we start launching, and we're hoping to launch next year, but open our enrollment at the end of this year. So lots of
I'm so
work, MJ.
excited for you. Oh my God, I'm so excited for you. The concept is so beautiful. It's like preserving our culture, preserving our story, and leaving a legacy for generations to learn from. And you're teaching people to actually express themselves, write their stories. Because, as we express ourselves and write down our thoughts, feelings, and ideas, we actually can, there's power in those words, right? We manifest what we feel, what we hear, what we see, what we want to do. We manifest them by first writing,
Hmm.
right?
And also, MJ, on top of that, it is such a healing
Yes.
transformation for people. I mean,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, having to remember some of these things takes you back, and it might be a little traumatic at times. Um, and I encourage, seeing any mental health counselors, advisors, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists. That's still important. But this
Mhm.
is one way also to process those experiences, those memories, when you write down your story from your own voice, from your own, diwa. And then you also, on top of that, it's not only just writing that, but when we have classes, you share it. And everyone is vulnerable. So you're not just the only one sharing,
Mhm.
everyone is sharing. So you feel encouraged to also write and do your homework and then also
Yes.
share at the same time, because everyone is in it together.
Wow. You know what? I feel like we actually connect in that aspect, that we can actually collaborate, because I love stories too. I love sharing, because it's one way, again, as you said, it's one way of healing from our past. When
Yes.
we can freely express and share the hard times, the tough times, and those painful moments in our lives, that is very therapeutic. I think that was the one of the ways that I was able to overcome a lot of the tragedies, the trials, the hurdles, all the struggles that I've gone through. It's because I was able to express and tell it to my friends. And
Mm.
when you say or you share it and you get that support, even just someone listening to your story, that already matters a lot,
It
right? Just yes, it's so good. Oh my God, Dr. Pinky, you know what? It seems like we don't have enough time. It seems like we need another maybe episode for this, but I know we're at the end of the show, but I just want to thank you, and it's been so inspiring to listen from you, to hear about your Quentico company, and for encouraging people, inspiring people. But let me ask you, if there the few words that you would want to tell our viewers tonight, what are your final words of encouragement and inspiration that you can share? And I'm not saying this is your last in the show, okay? Because we might have another episode, because I'm just so excited, especially about your Cuentoco, about the company, about storytelling and everything. We have not even delved so much
Yeah.
into what you're really here for, your movement or your purpose or your platform. But what are your final words for our viewers tonight?
Well, my final thoughts, and I wish I said this at the very beginning. October here in the United States, we celebrate Filipino American History Month, known as FAM, by way of FONS, the Filipino American National Historical Society. And so I just want to wish everyone here a happy Filipino American History Month. We are celebrating. Thank you for putting up the site for us. We
Mhm.
are still, the site is coming, it's new. But if you're in town here in Houston, please come see us at the Filipino Street Festival on Saturday at Constellation Field in Sugarland. And we're going to be there. We want you to fill out a community survey so we can connect and give you a free membership and a free shirt. But I also want you to take home something they think that's really important. And I received this as a nice little gift at Impact Hub. Shout out to Grace Rodriguez and her team here in Houston. I received a free gift as a member, and it's like a little cute painting that someone created. And it says, I focus on progress, not perfection, and
Mhm.
celebrate every step forward. And
Mhm.
I think that's important for me, at least, because my personality and unfortunately my my sign in terms of my birth sign as a Leo, I'm always focusing on like, oh, let's try to make it as the best as I can, and my perfection gets in the way. But really, we just need to boldly take one step forward, just literally one step forward. Even if you're scared or afraid or you don't even know how to do it, just take one step today. And I encourage a lot of my writers and my storytellers when they get writer's block, I just say,
Mhm.
even write for 1 minute, even if the 1 minute is the one word, right? That's more progress than not doing something. And
Mhm.
so that's the one step forward, and to celebrate that one little thing. That's how I got through my education. That's how I got through a lot of my work and biggest accomplishments. And we just have to do that step by step, and make sure you have a community that's supportive, right? I have a very supportive husband. Shout out to Kevin and to my
Mhm.
family out there, who is watching and paying attention. I think that's all we need. And as long as you believe in yourself that you can do that, that one step forward is all you need.
Yeah, amen. Amen to that. I mean, I totally agree with you. And what you just said is so profound, that really what we need in this life is to just keep going, never give up. I heard from this guy, his name is Ed Milet, the power of one more. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Yeah, one more step, just
One
one
more.
more call, one more word, one more time, one more minute, anything that you have to do and you feel like you're giving up, just take that extra step. Because
Yes,
that extra step, you never know, will probably be the one that will propel you to whatever purpose that you have in
it
this
is.
life. Yes,
MJ,
yes.
the funny thing is, so when we talk about propelling ourselves, many of the times we're in such a work mentality of push, 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 push forward. But sometimes even taking a rest and a break for a
Mm-hmm.
minute actually rejuvenates you more than pushing to the end. Because I find myself working really, really hard and then you burn out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to, because burnout can take a long time to get
Yes,
back.
while doing all this, yes,
Yeah,
let's not forget about self care, because it's
yeah.
really, really important. Anyway, let's read the last comments before
Okay.
we find out who
Yeah.
our winner for tonight. Doc, Doctor Donald Wen. I was going to say Doctor. Yes, we need another episode with Doctor
Oh,
Pinky.
thank
I
you,
want to hear
Donald.
more about Cuento Ko. Yeah, yeah. We'll plan about that. And then we have Mark Kahusa and Dr. Pinky and MJ to more blessed to come po. Thank you so much. God bless you as well. And now let's see who our winner for tonight's game. Wow, that's a lot of comments. Let's see.
Wow.
All right.
Fun. Who's our winner?
All right, congratulations, C. Jubel. You're the winner for our first episode of season 7. Congratulations.
Congrats.
And to all our viewers, thank you again for joining us tonight. And Dr. Pinky, thank you so much for your time and for your very inspiring and empowering story. We can't wait to see Kwento Ko become like a household name in the Filipino American community. And to all our viewers out there, thank you for joining Be Bold, Why Not every Monday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time and 9 a.m. Philippine time. To all of you, God bless and see you next Monday. Good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.